I'm here.
Yeah, that's the iPad problem.
Is it the iPad? So it's not me. It's not me pushing the button.
That's why I stopped. Yeah, I stopped bringing my iPad.
All right. Well, that's gonna be one because it'll repeat everything. And I don't have tape to put it, so. All right, I'm gonna go without. So bringing my laptop. Okay. What's up? Yes, go ahead. It's 7 o'clock. Everybody in? Who's chaos? Do you know who chaos is? Is Kate start? Oh, that's good. Okay. You guys ready? Everybody ready? Okay. Call this meeting to order, and we will stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'm surprised when I get out and turn around.
I always launch my chair
Like
to Connor. I feel so.
I haven't prepared for it.
Get it every time.
All right, our next item on the agenda is a moment of silence. Is there anyone we want to lift up? We mentioned that our communications staff person, Carrie Ann Sense, is in Nepal, which had an earthquake. We was able to, Matt reached out to her and she's okay. They slept through it. But other people in the house did run out and let them in the house, but they're fine. So she wants to really keep her in your thoughts and prayers for the rest of her trip is a safe one. Anyone else? Okay. Let's see anybody online. So if we can just bow our heads for a moment. Okay, thank you very much. The minutes were circulated. I know not everybody received them, but I did not see any edits. You do have it in your package. You're welcome to read over them if you want, and we can come back to this. Otherwise, I will entertain a motion.
I move that we accept the meeting minutes from October 11th, 2023.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you very much. All right, audit committee report. We are, everyone has received information. You got the agenda, right? So you did see that information. Okay, on the audit. Matt, do you want to make any comments about it? Or the members of the council who were
sure. So the audit committee met with staff and Councilmember Lichter last week. We made a few corrections to the FY23 audit based on some recommendations. Otherwise, they have requested the council move forward and accept the FY23 audit.
Okay. Any questions?
I would just share that we have a very diligent and active audit committee, and I want to thank Leslie Olson, who's here tonight, and the other members of the audit committee, Jeff and
Carrie.
Thank you. And there was, if you noticed in the packet, one material deficiency notice, but it was actually quite minor and really due more to an error of M&T Bank to not collateralizing the account, was strictly remedied thanks to Susan's diligence. And overall, our auditors continue to be very pleased with the way the town staff are managing the financials. So I want to thank everyone for their work.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? Okay, all right. Thank you all very much. Keep going. The DuPont Avenue variance, I believe we have, I'm sorry, Margie, is here, but Matt, do you want to go ahead and discuss that?
Sure, Mayor and Council, Marty Rogers from 3419 DuPont Avenue is here this evening to request a variance for a gate that was installed in the front plane of the property. There's an existing 4-foot fence. There was a gate installed behind the fence, but still in the front plane of the property to help prevent from individuals cutting through the property to get over to the creek. There is a pretty steep drop off from her property to the adjacent property. Council received a staff report in support of the variance requirement. And Margie would like to come up to the podium.
Margie, just give your name for the record and.
Margie Rogers.
Thank you.
And it's a somewhat unique situation because my front yard has a picket fence around it and then a smaller retaining wall, as you can see in the photo. And the gate that I had put in, the top of it, while it's 6 feet, the top of it is almost level with the existing picket fence, which is above the 3-foot retaining wall. And because there's those two, the smaller retaining wall and then a small walkway that leads to my backyard. And then this very tall, like 10 feet in some places. It's dangerous if people walk down there and don't know that the wall is there. So you can't even see it from DuPont Avenue, people walking their dogs, children, they could actually fall over that wall. It's right at the corner of the gate is where the wall begins. So, and the footing on that side of my house has become quite unstable over the years. So, and I have had problems with people trespassing. It seems to be unclear that that is private property there. They seem to think that it's I don't know, that it's a throughway.
Because the fence, they think, oh, that's the property line.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, does anybody have any questions?
Council, we did receive support from the 2 adjacent neighbors for the 6-foot gate.
It's really just, it's also more, I think, stops people a little bit more than if it was just a small gate, you know, so that somebody could just hop over.
Right.
I mentioned that there would be added expense for me to have somebody that now alter it. You know, cut it down, you know, in the uppers of $150 to $200. We've all, you know, spent quite a bit of money on the fence.
Thank you. I mean, just keep letting the Nandina grow, they're not gonna see it.
I put that there, several years ago to sort of stop people, but it wasn't enough.
Need thorns. Council, any questions? For staff or for Ms.
So we're
Rogers?
just giving a signal for a resolution for next time.
Correct, yeah. Yeah, so the issue is if the gate was 4 feet, there would be no variance request.
Mhm.
The variance requested because the gate is 6 feet high in the front plane of the property. And then if council would like to proceed with this, we just need a motion, or not even a motion, just direct the staff to put together a resolution for the December 13th council meeting. Yeah, I mean, we looked at this as a safety issue. I mean, that's why the staff was supportive. This is why we have a variance
Mhm.
process.
Yeah, I drove by earlier today and that, yeah, it is not obtrusive. You can't see it very well. I would just prefer that our resolution not reference like the cost to bring it into compliance or you know, that it was built without a permit. I would just like to strictly say that because of topography and safety that we would support this.
Can you, yeah, go back up to the podium.
Yeah, so I appreciate that, and I think that, when I originally put the gate up, I had already applied for a permit previous years, but I did not apply for one. I applied through the county, but not through the town, so that was my mistake. And so I took care of that problem, but, I've forgotten what I was gonna say. Oh, it isn't, it's on the southwest corner. It's not like it's my front gate, so it's, it's set back quite a bit.
No, and just just to clarify, I support the variance. We do have standards that we have to apply,
Right,
and I want to stick to them so that we don't have other people come in and say,
sure,
it would cost me so much to fix it, or I just want to stick to the standards in the code
I
and
understand.
have a clean approval
Okay,
that doesn't set a precedent. So
Yeah.
don't worry. Thank you.
Does anybody in the audience have a question? Any hands? Okay. Somebody like to make a motion to direct the staff to do a resolution?
We need a motion?
Or you want to just
You
do?
can just direct us to draft a resolution, support the resolution, we'll have it for December.
Okay, sounds like that's what we would like to do. Well, thank you very much. We'll do the
Thank you.
resolution in December, and then you'll be good to go. Thank you. And you are not the first person to get a permit from the county and not realize you have to get one from the county. You are not alone in that.
yeah,
For sure. Anyway,
probably because I was doing things in pieces, and I
Mhm.
was not finishing the project all at once. Wasn't exactly sure what direction I was going.
completely understand. Okay,
Thank you.
right,
Thanks, Mark.
so, that looks like, we're done with the mayor and town council, I realize. Okay. Does anybody want to give a report? Darren?
I don't have anything to report this month.
Okay. Ann?
Well, I have some exciting news, which you've all probably heard. I'm gonna show
Right,
off
I did
the
Eternal.
Sustainable Maryland Bronze Certification. Congrats to the Sustainable Kensington team that works so hard on this with a lot of support from Alex Marini, as well as Susan and Matt and Nate as a co-chair with me. We're really pleased that within a year we were able to document enough solid work within the town to support bronze certification. And the group, I don't know, Nate, if you want to add anything to the recent meeting, but basically got together, had a little celebration, and it's full speed ahead on another set of actions that will keep us busy for a few years, that were outlined in our action plan. So thank you everyone for your support.
Well done.
Otherwise, I also want to mention, you've probably
Like 10 more
seen.
spaces.
Yes, we go.
Those are for the recertification and for the silver designation.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've got some work to do.
It's sustainable for at least.
So
how many
don't go
years?
anywhere else.
I did want to mention, you've probably seen still plenty of volunteer activities with Weed Warriors. And in terms of upcoming events, don't forget December 7th, please turn out for the town menorah lighting at 6 o'clock. We have a lovely community event. It would be wonderful to see a lot of townspeople there. I think everyone understands it's been a challenging time for the Jewish community. And we'd love to have a big turnout for a special community event that evening at 6 o'clock.
I thought we had listed it at 5 o'clock on the town.
I thought I get the time
It's
right.
6.
I thought it was 6
Is it
on the
6?
flyer.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine.
To get people home from
Yes.
6.
Yeah.
through the traffic.
Okay, let's just make sure, let's see what we had on file. Okay. Nick?
Just to echo everything Ann said about the Sustainable Kensington effort, I think we're all really proud, but there is more work to do. We did have a potluck little celebration at one of our members' homes on Monday. Tracy also attended. It was really nice just to kind of get together. And I think we should do more things like that for the town committees. You know, we're always meeting in rooms or Zoom, and I think it was really nice, a nice setting. But it was fun to celebrate.
It's good, but just keep in mind that when you have it in somebody's private home, it's because the meeting should be open to the public.
Yeah,
So it just makes it a little harder.
yeah, and it was very
So,
informal, so.
Yeah,
But again, everyone was really proud and very excited to keep moving on, and we'll have new members also joining to participate. So the only update I have is on the pedestrian bicycling access and safety working group. We held our the event that we sponsor each year, of Walktober event. This was done the last Saturday in October. I unfortunately didn't personally participate because I was out of the country for work, but I did get reports from everyone who did participate from the working group and said it was really beautiful weather. They sent photos. Participation was a little more than last year. I think we had maybe 20-25 people. I want to thank also again Alex for all of her help with putting together the shirt order and doing a lot to help with logistics, as well as Matt pushing NZI to make sure that they got the repairs done that we were going to show off on the pork chop and the St. Paul intersection, some recent improvements. But overall, very good feedback. And I want to also thank the businesses who participated in our kind of experimental voucher program, where we gave out vouchers for businesses for people participating to use at the local businesses that agree to be part of it, for $10 towards whatever purchase they wanted to make. So they'll recoup that at the town's expense. So I think, I haven't heard yet if businesses are actually receiving those, but we shall see. So it's a way that we can do that to encourage people to frequent our businesses in relation to our events in the future. That's it.
Comment?
Mainly, thanks to Matt and Alex for Halloween setup. So talking to the neighbors along St. Paul, the cones and barricades that we used to narrow the street, slow traffic down, but also widen the walkway for trick-or-treaters worked very well.
Oh, good. Great.
And it really, we stood out at the corner of DuPont and St. Paul for a while talking there, and it did a great job of slowing traffic down. Lexington is going to need a little attention next year. It's mainly a parking issue. But as far as safety, flow of pedestrians, and reducing the speed of traffic, it turned out to be a very successful.
Do we want to put no parking on Lexington, both sides?
My only concern would be the streets that we are closing off, Farragut, Perry, are they parking there? I will say, the challenge were the people who are coming from outside of town who don't know where to park, and the GPS takes them up to Perry and they just try to find the closest. So there were a few people who, they parked in a few driveways. A very interesting 12-point U-turn in the middle of Lexington, because they thought they saw a parking spot, and that was the curb cut. And when I pointed out that they were boxing a driveway in, there were adult words. So, but by and large, from a safety and small kids being out in the dark, it worked really, really well.
Good.
So, and as did Scary Perry and now Fairgate as well. And all the residents and neighbors there who are making that a great event at their own personal expense, a big thank you, because it was, again, a wonderful family oriented. I can tell you all the parents deeply appreciate these car-free areas to trick or treat. It was great.
How did the other neighborhood receive it?
Oh, Kensington Heights.
Yeah.
The neighborhood in Kensington Heights, because the person that had brought this to our attention.
Well, he's
did
on,
not live,
he's on
He's on St.
but
Paul.
he's not within the. Town.
Right. Carl loved it. And he sits across, he's right at the apex of the problem. And so I had thought he would email. I will talk to him because I asked for his feedback directly, but I talked to him and he was just like, this worked great. And because we both have mutual friends that live behind on that section of Fairgate, we both felt great that we weren't redirecting traffic through another neighborhood that had no sidewalks. So altogether, that side of town worked really well. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a tip you can share with other communities.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's great.
Mhm.
Anything else?
That's it.
Well, we'll just have a couple little things. At our last month's chapter meeting, we did bring up the, Sue Ellen, our town attorney, was present there for the meeting, and Darren was, I think he was the only other one on the call. It was a Zoom, and she talked about the updating on the streetlights and how they've had, some good, negotiation with Pepco and the Public Service Commission. So I would like her to come in December to give us an update. It seems like it is a better deal now. I know the Sustainable Kensington Group has mentioned their concerns regarding certain LED lighting. So I think that's something too that we would want them to look at regarding what, because I'm not sure how much we get a say in what LED lighting goes in there. I'm not 100% sure, but Sue Ellen would be the one.
Okay.
We saw examples on our Sustainable Maryland walking tour.
Mhm.
Not only LED lights, but lights that direct light down. so
Right.
You're not having light pollution.
Mhm.
Did you see it? Did you do it during the evening?
Yeah.
Oh,
We're
yeah.
just pointing out.
Okay.
I did notice up at Wheaton on the side where Party City is,
Mhm.
Mhm.
that they have put in LED lighting in there. I'm not sure if it's similar to what we put in our pole lights.
Mhm.
So, but it's facing down. I think ours is like this. Theirs is facing down with a cap on top. So,
Okay.
so yeah, I mean, like everything else, there's probably 100 different kinds of LED lighting that you can probably use. And what is the best one for, there was a mention of concern about insects, and some other things, bats was brought up,
Mhm.
things like
And
that.
just light pollution.
Yeah,
I know that the pedestrian and bicycling working group has worked a little bit on this too because of the safety issue. So maybe it's something that we could go look at together.
yeah. So I think having Sue Ellen here to talk,
Yeah.
give us the updates, it definitely, I'm not necessarily sold that it's, good for us to do, but I think, definitely there's some improvements there.
Do we,
Yeah.
has anybody done any back of the envelope calculation for what it would cost us to acquire them?
Yeah, we can't afford it.
So this is why we need the update on negotiation. Yeah.
Right. Well,
That was
But
the old, was that,
yeah,
the-
what
was that
Sue
a
Ellen-
new
what-
yeah,
update?
the old
What-
ones are.
Yeah, what Sue Ellen had told me is that a couple of the other down counties are gonna do this.
Mhm.
They are not looking to replace the lights. What they're gonna do is just switch out the guts. So it's more manageable financially. So they're not actually gonna change the fixtures. They're just gonna use the existing fixtures, switch out the guts to LED, so it's more manageable. I'll let Sue Ellen kind of explain that more in December. But it's just, I don't know how realistic it is financially for us, but it's something that we can look at. And then there's, as the mayor knows, there is some concern on my end about taking over utility for small staff.
Right.
We have a lot of other projects. We're not like the Chevy Chases. We have bridges, we have storm drains, we have commercial districts. So these are things we need to take into consideration, at least on a short term.
Is it an all or nothing?
I don't know. And Sue Ellen will be able to provide more
Okay.
information. And there's a couple municipalities down county, like I said, Somerset, Glen Echo, Chevy Chase View, they're moving forward with this.
Town of Chevy Chase.
Town of Chevy
Mhm.
Chase,
Section 5.
yeah, they, again, their responsibilities aren't quite ours
Mhm.
in their town, so they have a little more flexibility. But it's something that we can certainly look at and see what the benefits
Yeah, I
are.
don't think, I mean, they have minimal, if that, business district, so it's, they're supposed to be, Pepco did alert us that they were gonna be sending in, auditors, or to just count the,
So we had requested an audit.
yeah,
We don't know how many streetlights we have. Our numbers are not matching up with their numbers, and they haven't for many years. They agreed to an audit. They're basically gonna send in a contractor. I mean, it's just gonna be a guy in a hard hat and a white truck, and
Yeah.
he's gonna go around and count the lights, so.
But go ahead.
You're probably gonna ask the same.
Is it
question.
just
Put it
a
on a
paper
map.
audit or are they gonna put it in the GIS so we can actually?
I don't know.
Okay.
My guess is they're just gonna try to correct the bill right now, so we think we have somewhere between about 298, 315. We're not really sure. They'll confirm that with us. And
My question was whether the audit would encompass anything like the age of the fixture or the state of the fixture, because,
Not that I'm aware of, I'm pretty sure the fixtures are older than me, so.
yeah.
They're rusted out if you look at them.
So anyways, so we're gonna get an update on this. Good. Also, good news, if you haven't noticed, the Don Perez, it looks like they're actually going to open. They are, Ellie reported that they've painted the outside. They hired Nicole Bourget to do a mural, so it's number 23 that's coming up on. And a lot of the storage stuff came out, you know, is leaving, so they did get their warehouse, and so and they have applied for a sign permit, or working to get.
Yeah, so Alex and I spoke with the owner a couple weeks back. They were looking to secure a warehouse. They're using the existing location of the warehouse for their food truck and their brick and mortar in Silver Spring. And then once they were gonna be able to secure that, they needed to build out the warehouse, get a walk-in fridge. So we were told about 6 months, and that was in October. So.
They look like they're moving a little
They
faster,
are.
so hopefully they'll be able to, which would be great. Another item, Veterans Day is on Friday. Remind this, council that the, and the, residents that the office will be closed. Town Hall will be closed on Friday. Also, the Brookwood School will be doing an observance on Veterans Day down at the Ernest Memorial Park at 11:11. And I'll send out an email on the listserv inviting people who would like to get to have the observance if they would like. There will be trash pickup as usual, no change in that. Of course, I think everybody knows that leafing has started.
Oh, yes, we've heard it.
Yeah. Anyway, staff would also like me to remind everybody that we are collecting Toys for Tots through December 14th. So when you come to the Christmas tree lighting or the menorah lighting, or just stop by Town Hall, there's a box in the vestibule outside of the drill hall. Darren said it was helpful. I just want to pass out to the council all the upcoming events that we have. The paper copy, sorry, but there are so many. There are 10. I know all of these 10 events are events that the council has the opportunity to attend. I think we only have Darren, were you able to go to committee for Montgomery?
Oh, I can do that
That's on the 15th
of December.
of
Mhm.
December.
Yeah, that's fine.
Cause, and then we have that, so that would be the three of us. And I'm gonna reach out to some other people and then some of our elected officials.
Mhm.
And and then staff will fill in as well. How about the Montgomery chapter holiday party? That's on the 6th. We can all have the opportunity to congratulate the mayor-elect Monique Ashton, which is exciting for Rockville, the city of Rockville. And
Do you know what time?
my guess, it's probably in the 6 o'clock range. I don't have the time. It is a dinner, so, and it's up in Rockville, so I think it's the same place we've been.
That hotel?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't need to tell me now, but when the,
Yep.
when Annie Harney sends in the, notice, we'll need to get Susan to send her a check
Okay.
anyway. So please let Susan or me know if you're able to go. It is you know, it's a holiday party event, which can sometimes be a little bit, why am I here? But it is a great networking opportunity.
It
too.
is.
So it's really important to come. And then, I will, I'll resend it to everybody. There's some really good speakers coming up for our chapter meeting. So I hope everybody, you know, we have our, chief of police will be, Marcus Jones will be a speaker. Mrs. McKnight or, our
MCPS.
superintendent, will be, speaking, and then then coming up will be our dinner with the council and then, of course, the county executives. So those are all good meetings to attend. So, okay, so you'll let me know on the chapter holiday party event. Thank you. And then the other events are here in town. We are having the Kensington Ken is having a business holiday party next week on 11/15. You're welcome to drop by. It's for the business community. It'll be here at Town Hall in the map room. So they're busy putting that together. And then, and KHS in December is also having an event. So, okay, so I'm sure there are other things that are filling your schedule, but I just wanted to make sure everybody had these dates on their radar. Okay. Okay. Between now and New Year's is a very busy week. Okay, I think that's everything I've got. Does anybody in the audience or online have a question for any of our reports? Okay, not seeing any hands. All right, so we will move on to from the town manager and staff.
Just a couple updates, milling and paving, for Pliers Mill and, St. Paul, along with Farragut Avenue is scheduled for after Thanksgiving. The 10600 block of St. Paul will have a traffic counter sometime in the next week or two. We had a request for a speed hump, so we're doing a traffic count first. And then we'll present that to the Mobility and Traffic Committee, probably early in the year once we schedule a meeting to review, and then they can go through the process for an addition for the speed hump.
You know, just out of curiosity, where?
It's gonna be right in front of Carrie Thompson's house.
Yep. Okay.
Yep, it's mid-block, so we have
Like,
some
so
limitations on the street.
And she does know about it.
She will know about it. It's gonna be put up probably next week, maybe, and we'll let Carrie and Rich know.
Yep.
It's gonna go just to the south of their driveway apron. We'll keep it up for maybe 3 or 4 days. We need about 400 data points. And then we'll kind of get an idea what the speed is on that street and determine if the petition is appropriate. So, and we'll be, as you mentioned, we'll be leafing through December 15th. Just for residents, please do not put your leaves in the street. We've already had a few incidents.
The tree box is this big.
Yeah.
It's, yeah, I mean, Connor is not the only one
Did
that
my
has a
best.
problem where you either don't have a place to put them.
Get it out of the sidewalk.
Yeah, you put them in the middle of the sidewalk is basically, because then you have bushes, I think, and a tree, and it's not, yeah.
Just drag them across the park.
The SFS sign, which is the sign that will show your speed on Metropolitan by the dog run, should be in by the end of the month. And we've ordered the new blinking flash stop signs that should be in sometime late December, early January. We are scheduling a meeting with Derek Gunner, District Engineer for State Highway Administration, to address a couple of questions, and then we'll probably schedule a quarterly meeting in January. We're trying to get the sign on University to advise of our restrictions on St. Paul. We're looking for an update on the rapid flashing beacon for Wheatley Street, and a number of other issues.
Yeah, they're running out of time on that one.
So,
Supposed to be in this year,
I'm gonna be $100 richer.
this year.
I bet myself that it wouldn't happen.
Bet yourself.
I'll update council once we have that meeting, and then we'll schedule a quarterly meeting. It's typically with Nate and Darren, Tracy, and I. So.
All right, yeah, it's very frustrating working with SHAs. They mean well, it's just. Yeah. Okay, anything else? Council, any questions for the,
So the quarterly meeting is worth, maybe you guys are already doing, but reaching out to Paul and Kate Stewart's office.
to attend this?
Just to
meeting?
attend the quarter.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
And Jared. Solomon
Jared,
has
Jared
attended
Solomon,
it,
your state highway, yeah.
Just trying to-
Actually, it was during the meeting with Jared when he promised to get it in, the rapid flashing beacon for Wheatley
Oh, so
by
we should-
December. Remember, he was on that
Yes,
call.
he was on that call, so maybe we should call him
Yeah.
and say, where's our rapid flashing beacon, Jared? You were on that call,
I will give him a call.
yeah, give him a call,
Mhm.
Follow up and give him-
okay. Cool. All right, any questions for staff? No, Okay, all right, thank you very much. Let's move down to ordinance resolutions and regulations. Matt?
Mayor and Council, we are removing resolution R-19 twenty twenty-three. We needed to revise the scope of the work for the CCTV, the storm drain analysis, following a meeting with Montgomery Parks last week. So Brutus and Engineering are gonna revise that, hopefully get us a proposal in the next couple weeks. And then we'll have a resolution for you in December. This is to evaluate some of the flooding issues we are having, essentially between Armory Avenue and the outflow. The outfall on Washington Street. We're just needed to expand it a little bit to figure out what's going on. So we'll have some more answers.
Matt, does this include the analysis of the park? Like we were discussed.
So we're getting quite a bit of pushback from Montgomery Parks on that. Arun, who's our hydraulic engineer with Brutus, is going to address that in a letter that we can maybe take somewhere else. They are against any kind of stormwater management. They're against any containment system beneath the park. What they are looking to do is expand the banks at the base of Washington Street. They'd like to remove the flat gate. We're concerned about that because we believe additional flooding will happen where it's not happening now. We are looking to address a number of issues, but I imagine that we'll need to take this to the county council for some help.
Yeah, because I mean, it's one thing for them to be against it in, I guess, in concept, but if they have seen an analysis that shows the feasibility of it and some cost figures and
Arun's going to run some modeling for us to
Okay.
give us a little more data. We'll see. I mean, I don't want to say too much right now because I just don't know, but they're clearly against
Okay.
any use of the park at any level.
All right, so. Okay,
Bring in a walking path. Totally against.
No reason, just don't like it.
They're doing.
we can work on it.
So we're gonna skip down to number 2. So Mayor and Council, before you this evening is resolution number R-20-2023. A resolution of the Mayor and Town Council of Kensington accepting a monetary contribution in the amount of $100,000 from Knowles Manor Senior Housing LLC to be used for traffic and parking enforcement within the town of Kensington. Council, this is at the request of staff. Within the settlement agreement and mutual release between the neighbors for an improved Kensington and Knowles Senior Living, the council has to accept the funding. And in order for us to accept that and put it in the FY25 budget, we'd like to generate it as revenue so we can appropriate it within FY25, which we'll begin working on in about February. There is an exhibit to this that explains the agreement. And really, we just kind of wanted to open this up for discussion and see if the staff will move forward with it.
Can I make my statement? I have to like perennial statement because I have to recuse myself from the discussion because as a private citizen, I was part of the group that led to that filed the petition that led to this this funding and settlement. So the town's ethics commission has advised that even though there's no direct conflict of interest they see, just to be safe, to recuse myself from the discussion. So
Okay, thank you. Is there any discussion from the council?
I have a question. So Matt, you were describing you would like to move this forward so that it can be treated as revenue this year to be appropriated next year.
Correct.
And given the stated terms of the agreement, intended use of the funds, have you already been discussing with staff how the funds may be able to be used in 2025?
So we're limited within the agreement on how the funds can be used. They essentially have to be used for public safety, specifically for some kind of traffic or parking enforcement. I mean, you know, we're looking at this as taking it as revenue and appropriating it in FY25 within our public safety budget, specifically toward what we would use for our secondary enforcement with Montgomery County Police, and which would allow us to, we do have a 4th position officer open that we could use towards it, although it is currently funded. And it would also allow us to possibly use some funds in some other locations to address some traffic mitigation issues, specifically at the intersection of Pliers and Old Metropolitan Avenue.
Darren, any questions?
I don't have any.
No.
Anybody in the audience have a question? Anyone online? I don't see any hands. If we get a motion,
But, since he's on the call, I see that Al Carr is on the call and he was party to this. If he has any feedback, I'd want to hear it now.
okay.
Yeah, thank you for offering. I don't have any comments to offer.
Thank you, Al.
Okay.
Yeah, Leslie, yeah. you can go.
Leslie Olson, Wheatley Street. So is this the deal where this is escrow money? And then if it's not used, it goes back with after a certain point? Is that,
Correct, yes.
Not entirely, not
yeah.
back to the developer.
No.
If there's a secondary use, if the town does not take it, inside of the settlement agreement, it states that it would go to an agreed upon part of Montgomery County government with the intended use of developing a community center at the HOC property, which is not a actual plan.
okay, yeah, I remember reading.
Yeah.
Okay. all right.
What's that? Oh, John? Oh, gosh, I barely see that little hand.
Right. Thank you. I guess I have a few thoughts, and I know obviously this has been something that everybody's discussed a lot, and it's important to have the conversation in a way that is appropriate. I guess there are several points I'd make, and I'll fold in some questions. The first is my understanding that we're at a point where the town needs to essentially signal that it is accepting and being a partner of being a recipient of this $100,000, that even though it was not part of the original deal, it was a deal done by, I guess, 12 or so folks in the community who I know shakedown's not an appropriate term, but pressured the developer into writing this check in exchange for being able to go forward and not being tied up in long litigation. And I know that the hope and intent was that for the people, a number of the people who were financing this lawsuit, that they would be able to get the town to have dedicated funds for traffic mitigation in their neighborhood, in their particular part of the town. And I guess part of what concerns me about the whole thing is a precedent that gets set. I mean, when Warner Mansion comes online or something else, does it sort of inspire somebody to turn around at the last minute and say, listen, I would really like some money for my pet thing, and I'll tell you what, if you want to go ahead and contribute money via the town, I'll go ahead and let it go forward. But more importantly, the idea of money for things like the traffic litigation seems like it, in order for it to be sustained, we would have to keep kind of coming up with that. The idea of the police being used, and I think it's about 70,000 we're currently spending on police enforcement. I know folks near Kent Street feel strongly. Obviously, in the north side, there's issues. Washington Street in Baltimore and the Pitchfork have their own. So we see these officers often just sitting there. they don't actually write many checks many tickets because people, they're dissuaded when they see the officer and they only do it when they don't see the officer. But even the tickets that they write, the town doesn't get the money for. So I guess one thing that I'm wondering is, could this $100,000 that we're being forced to take supplant that 70,000, and maybe that 70,000 could be freed up for some of more substantive kind of policing in the form of pursuing things like the group that robbed Raffi's recently, or catalytic converters that are being taken from cars, or things that our normal Montgomery County police don't have the resources or time to do, but Kensington could have some benefit from. So I guess the bottom line of what I'm saying is, I understand why the mayor and council are feeling kind of like they have to do this and have to accept it because you don't want to walk away from $100,000 and all. I think it sets a bad precedent, but can we have a more thoughtful conversation so that we can make sure that it indeed adds maximum value to the most number of people in our town, and is not simply kind of a transaction that really was intended to just, I think, benefit one part of our community. And I recognize that that I just said a lot, but my sense is it's kind of an elephant that is in the room that needs to be said. Thank you for listening.
Okay.
Do you want me to?
Sure.
I'll try to address some of these things, John. I mean, I certainly share and have voiced frequently my concern about this setting a precedent. The idea that this money would be, for the benefit of certain parts of town was a non-starter for us from the beginning, when that was sort of as you say, the hope, and it is not earmarked. It is, the only limitation is that it be used for the traffic and parking enforcement.
Public safety, which is a pretty big word.
Right. So we are not tonight allocating money towards any particular use. We are simply considering in this resolution that we would give to the escrow agent that would free up the money. The actual allocation of it towards, whether it's police or an additional code enforcement would be next year. So strictly tonight is simply the resolution.
Okay, that's helpful. Any other thoughts from folks? Because I know I said a lot, which is unusual for me.
No, I mean, I'll go on the record one more time. I've said it too, much like Darren has, that how this happened, I thought was unfortunate, mainly because we built a public process to review all applications. We held numerous meetings about this project. We heard from many neighbors who gave up their evenings to come and hear from the applicant, to sit with the development review board, to give us their personal insights on what they liked and didn't like. We took all of that feedback back into the process and addressed those with the developer. And what is frustrating is many, if not almost all of the concessions that this settlement purports to have secured were already secured for free through the public process.
Correct.
But that wasn't known to many of the plaintiffs because they didn't attend the meetings of the public process.
Right.
And so at the 11th hour, this lawsuit comes in, asks for several different changes or accommodations within the plans that were already agreed to by the developer, with the exception of this $100,000. And then the $100,000 is layered with a poison pill that if we don't take it, it is to go to the county government for a project that is never been considered for the town. So I don't know where that money would go.
Right.
Or if it just sits forever in escrow. So I will be honest, I am very conflicted about accepting the money, except for the fact that if we don't take it within the amount of time, it goes to a place that we can never access it later. And it is $100,000 that we can put toward good and effective uses for public safety and parking improvements. So, well, I don't like the idea of taking the money. I do like the idea of what the money can do to make Kensington safer for pedestrians and bicyclists and the events that we hold in town.
Right. So I think you're exactly right. And again, I know for people, actually, I mean, there are only 10 people on the call, and I'm assuming everybody is familiar with the dynamics, but so I guess I am understanding why we have to take it, but it really, my hope would be, and I hear what Darren's saying, that look, this is just for tonight as a placeholder to signal that we don't want to let the money go. But my hope would be between now and when there's a final vote, we work together in a very transparent, very clear way to make sure that this doesn't become a precedent, because I don't think this is our best work. But again, I mean, it's like, I know, but $100,000. But also that we make sure that the money really goes to benefit the most number of people in our community, so that the people who originally came up with this scheme don't in the end up with their own personal traffic enforcement group, because as it is, as I said, we already have a lot of Montgomery County police that are stationed around the town that aren't being able to be used for things that I think, given the significant challenges we've had about crime, real crime, we're not able to benefit and have that. And so I'm thinking maybe there's a way to take this unfortunate chapter in our town and add that benefit and all. But I think it's going to take more transparent conversations and kind of courageous, creative, because again, I would not want, when Warner Mansion or someone else is about to do the project, for somebody to say, you know what, let's go ahead. I mean, the developer's gonna, I mean, how much would the developer pay to not have to have it tied up for another year in court, whatever? And in other words, we've sort of made a model for what I think was bad behavior. So,
Thank you, John.
yes.
Appreciate the comments.
Okay. Thank you. And thank you for letting me, because I know I was kind of verbose. Thank you.
But it's a short meeting, so we have lots of time here today, so we're good. Okay, so if there are no other comments, we can get a motion.
I'll make a motion to adopt resolution number R-20-2023.
Is there a second? Second it. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, council.
All right, we'll move down to number 3.
Should we turn Nate back on?
We can turn it back.
Before you receive is resolution number R-21-2023, a resolution of the mayor and town council of Kensington. And we switched this resolution, and Alex is going to share her screen.
This is the one in yellow.
Yeah,
Mhm.
so this is why it's in yellow, make sure we have the right colors. So we initially advertised to put in a parking zone
Mhm.
in the town's metropolitan law. Upon further discussion with the town attorney, Ms. Ferguson, basically told us that a zone is not appropriate for this. What we were trying to do is we have a number of vehicles that are parking in the lot beyond the 4-hour restriction. They're moving their vehicles in the same lot, which is preventing us from enforcing it because there's no restriction. So town attorney Ferguson suggested that the council allow staff to amend the existing signs, the language of the signs, so we can enforce it. So there's no more than 4 hours parking within a 24-hour period as opposed to a zone, because a zone creates a few more problems for us. So the resolution we're presenting for you this evening would amend the existing parking restrictions at the Metropolitan Avenue parking lot at 10450 Metropolitan Avenue by prohibiting parking for more than 4 hours total within any 24-hour period in one or a combination of the restricted spaces, except by permit. This would not affect the 18 open spaces that run along the rail line. So those will remain 18 spaces that are unrestricted. We have a number of businesses that have commuter parking permits from the town that allow their employees to park there. This is specifically for the spaces that are against on the far side, the north side of the lot that wrap around on the other side. So what it would allow the code enforcement officer to do is, if your vehicle is parked there for more than 4 hours, we could issue a violation, even if they move the vehicle to another open space in the lot. This would prevent vehicles from circumventing the existing regulations. So, the zone was a little more difficult to enact. And how it was explained to me is, in order for us to move forward with the zone parking, we really need to deal with more street parking as opposed to a private lot. And it's something that, you know, they do in like Friendship Heights, and it just didn't really fit what we were trying to do on enforcement.
So these are the 18?
Yeah.
These are, which ones are staying?
Those will remain open and
Yep.
free.
Yep.
Those will be regulated, and everything around here will be regulated, and that's regulated.
Mhm.
Who generally is parking here right now?
Medina employees.
Yeah,
So where do you think they're gonna go?
they're gonna have to find other parking.
So it's just gonna push the problem in the neighborhood, right?
Well, we have residential parking restrictions on most of our side streets around the train station. I was advised that Safeway has put up new signs very recently because they are having what I believe is Medina employees parking there as well. We had worked out an agreement between Warner Memorial Presbyterian Church and Medina, where their employees could park there and the shuttle would come and pick them up. That doesn't seem to be working. This will probably force them to do that, and I would hope it will.
Mhm.
As long as we have a solution.
Yeah.
An alternative, I think that's good.
I mean, much of all of this is
It's pretty much all.
zoned.
Yep, it's all permitted
Residential.
residential. I mean, Councilmember Crimmins knows we have individual
Mhm.
parking in the park, taking up half the park,
Mhm.
during long stretches of the day, which our code enforcement officer is able to enforce, with the restricted parking there.
Is it worth? I forget, on the south side of the Mark parking lot, is it also restricted?
We have very few spaces there. If you were looking at the lot, you'll notice, yep. So we only have a few spaces on the south side. Most of them belong to, NCA.
Mhm.
Yeah, so we cannot enforce those. We cannot tow, we cannot cite.
Yeah, none of ours now, 4 of these are
Yeah,
electric.
yeah, that's right.
So quick question, behind, Spirit Club, we own the parking lot back there on Kensington Park.
Mhm.
How many spaces are there?
There's 11.
11.
They are permitted out.
I understand that, but who are they permitted to?
Most of them are permitted to trick trucks. There's a couple other companies that have permits.
Do
for that as
they,
well.
do they pay
They pay $250 a year for each space.
a year for each space?
Yep.
Okay. Do they use them?
Yes. Yeah, that lot is generally full.
Mhm.
We actually run into an issue where Spirit Club employees get there in the morning before Trick Trucks employees and take the spaces and move before the violation's up. I'm not looking to put anything there at this moment because we do have street parking available on Kensington Parkway, so it hasn't become a huge issue yet. But maybe down the road.
The county keeps telling us nobody has cars.
It's a conversation
Parking
and a
survey.
reminder of our
And it's
public.
this close to the train, so they're just gonna take the train.
The train's picking up.
Yeah.
You know, we've hit over 100 passengers from Kensington 3 times in the last 6 weeks. We haven't done that since pre-COVID. It's definitely picking up, so we have a lot more Mark riders.
Yeah, the lot is definitely more full than it's.
And then obviously we know the issues with individuals coming to Baby Cat in the evening.
Mhm.
So we have some parking issues in the area that we're also looking to address a little further down the road. So
Well, and this will become another problem, and I am definitely for it, but the shopping center that is being built at the corner of Connecticut and Flyers Mill is going to be able to accommodate, most of the people that go, but not the people that work there. So that is going to be, if you have 5 employees, you're gonna have 5 spaces. And where are they going to park? And that is, yet to get up.
And of the 6 bays of retail that they plan to have there, they will have more than 5 employees. I mean, they will have,
Well, especially
15.
restaurants.
I mean, they'll fluctuate through the day. The bank will have certain hours, but the rest are like, yeah, it will be 15 to 20 employees needed to run that shopping center to all of the tenants.
Problem is not going away. It just seems to keep getting worse. And I know I've talked with Matt about this and maybe some others. I think we're approaching the point at which some type of parking district study should be re-upped because there have been so many changes and we just have more development and more pressure. So maybe that's something we can factor into our planning for next year.
I'm all for it. I've had through the DRB some conversations with the county that the idea of parking districts is something that is fading because they have a greater, their vision is to reduce the number of cars being used anywhere. And so the idea of, and they look at different, areas of the county that have shifted rapidly, especially through COVID, like the tiered decks in Bethesda and the tiered decks in Silver Spring. But those are areas that were built out heavy office uses that changed completely overnight. We're a different mix of retail, residential, scale. But parking districts is something that, they didn't say they're dead, but they're just like, they're not exciting anymore.
Well, there's not enough benefit to the person I have found, or nobody's proven to me that the person who's signs on to the parking district, well, what do I get out of it for letting people park in my lot at night or on weekends when I'm there? What is my benefit? And no one's ever been able to explain that to me.
And then enforcement, we're obviously putting in different enforcement mechanisms for the lots that we can control. But we don't control any private agreements in private parking districts. And what happens when there's.
Well, and the towing issue, when they were towing heavily at Kensington Shopping Center, I mean, everybody went ballistic because they literally where you get out of your car and somebody jumped, they towing it away. And so they don't even do that anymore. So,
But wouldn't the beginning, like the first step in a analysis for a parking district be a survey of what parking exists? That may not be, we've talked about that's underutilized, even in street parking or wherever. What is the actual capacity we have?
And also a survey of businesses, like you just off the top
Yep.
of your head, we're calculating for the new shopping center what the employee parking load might be. And
because the county keeps dropping the number of spaces that are required which is crazy because I don't even think they think about employees.
No. And I would say if we're going to do it, just to put everything on the table is the other parking that's out there is street parking, which is public right of way in our purview. And just to have a discussion of, do we value that to be free? Or should we begin to think about parking, a paid for parking system, as we've talked about with potentially the flats, in a lot that would come under some agreement with us, that is at the start of looking at parking and seeing about using it as an asset for the town.
I agree. I think that should be part of a phase study.
And also signage, improved signage for where to park, wayfinding system for parking.
And and if there's a way Now we're getting way down off of your
We
original.
should develop our own
resolutions.
parking.
I know,
lot.
sorry.
So
Well,
Kensington Wiz.
It's still
park
a
Wiz.
needed conversation.
Yeah.
Without great solutions.
Well, I mean, one last thought on that, what I was gonna say is. If there is a way to do the study that includes an analysis of how to get people out of their cars and walking and not clogging up the streets with driving. If they're coming here as a destination, either to go to work or to shop or to go to baby cat, is there a way that we can limit the traffic burden on our streets by identifying locations we can direct them to and then have people walking?
Yeah. Park your car once.
Yes.
and- Yeah.
Centrally located and try to,
Well, I know Medina had underguessed the number of people that would that residents were bringing cars. Probably not just one car, but possibly two cars. And that was part of the problem. And they really should have done a second level. And did not. I mean, I'm sure the money was part of the,
I mean,
you know,
from what I understand, Silver Creek also has greater demand than they have supply for the 47 spots that they have.
well, I think their problem is they're having to pay extra.
It's a
Yeah.
monetary
Affordable
thing.
apartment, they're not wanting to pay or can't pay.
No, they
And
want the
so-
parking. They don't
They
want
want
to pay
the
for it.
parking, they just don't. wanna
Yeah.
pay for it.
Yep.
So. And I think a lot of them are parking at the 10400.
Hmm.
Either paying them or just parking them. But that above lot seems extremely
Hmm.
busy now.
So Matt, I mean, the rest of the signs in the commercial district are for our parking
Mhm.
as well.
Yeah.
And this resolution would effectively create a 4-hour limit within the one parking lot.
Within the parking lot, and the reason why Sue Ellen suggested this instead of the zone is because we control the law. It's not like, even though we control parking on streets, this is a lot easier to maintain. So she was recommending just an amendment of the existing language, and it will allow Annie a little more flexibility on enforcement.
But I guess what I'm wondering is if we enforce this, are they gonna park 4 hours in the train station lot and then come around to Antique Row and park the rest of the day
It's
in Antique
possible.
Row? And is there anything that we should be thinking about doing to broaden this to 4 hours in the town?
I don't know, well, I mean,
Or is
with
that
one
back to
code,
the
yeah,
zone?
with one code enforcement officer, I don't know how we could do that. And I don't know what the restrictions are. This is specific to the lot, so I don't
Mhm.
know. I'd have to talk with Sue Ellen about doing something a little broader. Obviously, we are restricted on Howard Avenue. But I would assume that they would move there. Like I said, we do have we reached out, we got an agreement between Warner Memorial Presbyterian
Mhm.
and Medina. And I think they've been reluctant to do it because they've just told their employees to park here for free. COVID's pretty much, over at this point. So we have a lot more vehicles at the train station. So this might push Medina to go back and work out that agreement. With Warner
Yeah,
Memorial.
cause that lot sits there.
It sits
empty.
there empty every day.
Yeah.
And it was, a nice little plan. We worked out an agreement where they would resurface the lot. It needs resurfaced. They could park there during the day and the shuttle would just come and pick the employees and bring them back and forth. And, I just think they realized that it was silly for them to do it when there's free parking all over
And close by.
and close by.
What prevents somebody from actually physically leaving the lot? Say I park there for my 4 hours and I go get some lunch. And then I come back. Have you left the lot? and Now you start all
Just
over
4 hours
again?
total though.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
And-
4 hours total within a 24-hour
Or
period,
within that 24-hour period?
Yep, that's how
Okay,
you
so
get
you gotta
around
be
that.
taking pictures of cars
pretty much.
and really tracking.
My
you
guess
know.
is the enforcement on this will be very heavy for a couple weeks.
Yeah.
And then it will pretty much go away,
Okay.
so.
Hopefully they're not listening to the council meeting.
Strategy.
Good thought.
But just to clarify, this is not the zone parking that we put out on
Right.
Monday. This was the language was changed.
Okay.
The intent has not changed. It's just
Okay.
the enforcement and the language has changed.
Okay.
So,
And are we giving any, I'm just thinking about, you asked the question about who's parking there and who therefore is impacted by the loss of those spots? Is it the businesses along?
I know that the, like, where the oak is,
Yeah, Buns and Rice,
yeah,
yeah.
Buns and Rice, there's no parking. I mean,
Yeah,
that,
especially around lunchtime.
that lot was, the purpose of it was to be a lot for the stores.
And so now, part of the reason I'm asking, because that's what I was
Yeah,
assuming was the case, then if that parking lot in front of those stores doesn't have any signage, our employees can move.
oh, I don't
There,
know, but
there is a lot for sale that we have told that property to purchase adjacent to them. And maybe this will spur them on,
okay.
so. There's a property right next to them that they could purchase for parking and move the dumpster, and they should act.
Yeah, I should grab it.
Yeah.
Mhm. Okay, well, I mean, this. More people bring more cars. So. But for Medina though, I mean, you still have visitors. It's a great visitor lot. I mean, you're not gonna visit grandma for over 4 hours typically.
Mhm.
So, they can certainly use it for that. So, Okay, does anybody want to entertain a motion?
I'll do it. We'll move to,
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought we did that.
Yeah,
already. I
that's
lost track. Any questions from the public? Sorry.
Is this where we are?
Yes,
Yeah.
With the
yeah.
issues that are not on the agenda?
Oh, not yet, just on this one.
Yeah, we're still working on this yellow piece of paper. Let's see the ends.
Mhm.
Okay,
okay,
good.
okay, I move that we adopt resolution number R 21 2023. As amended. Is that right?
No, just,
No,
this is fine.
just-
Okay,
Yeah, we-
okay,
Yeah.
all right. Which would, a resolution to authorize town manager to amend the existing parking restrictions in Metropolitan Avenue parking lot.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, council.
We have one more.
Mayor and council, I would like to thank the entire town staff, for this resolution. This is resolution number R 22 2023, a resolution of the mayor and town council of Kensington proclaiming November to be municipal government work month in Kensington, Maryland. This is the town staff's favorite resolution every year. We have our flag out front in front of town hall.
And who found that flag?
That would be the mayor. But no, really, we have a great staff here. And I cannot be more supportive of them and how supportive of them, of this town and everyone here. And this really is, for them, so.
We are indeed an exceptional town for our size. A lot of people don't understand all the municipalities in Montgomery County. But for our size, our huge business district, our eclectic housing and stock of whether apartments, types of homes we have, it's just you don't see that in
We are very unique in the state.
very unique.
For the size of our residential population, that I have a commercial district, that we have the number of state highways, the railroad, there's
We got a little bit of everything
not
going
too many
on.
places that deal with everything that we do.
Yeah.
with The size of our staff.
And I'd add the number of parks that we have
Yeah.
and how well they're kept up. It is.
Yeah, there's the staff.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, so we need a motion to declare that November is municipal government works month.
I move that we adopt resolution number R 22 2023 to declare November municipal government works month in Kensington, Maryland.
Is there a second?
A second.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Great, thank you very much. Okay, now we're in public appearances. If anyone has anything to discuss or ask questions that are not on the agenda, please come to the speaker. To the podium.
Leslie Olson, Wheatley Street. So, two things real quick. I don't think the parents that let their children play on the railroad track realize how fast the trains come around the corner westbound. Maybe there could be just a little something in one of the flyers that go out. The
When you
kids-
say children, are you talking about young children, teenage children?
No,
My
young,
children?
young with their parents.
Oh, okay.
The parents are one place, the
Yeah.
kids are somewhere else on the other side of the track looking and I walk so much, I see this and one time is fine, but I see it over and over again. The weather is so nice. And, those Amtrak trains fly and it's all you can do to get across, even when you know that, I just don't see a parent having the time to go get their child and get it out of the way. So
Describe where this is happening, Leslie.
it's all right there at the train station,
You mean right at the crossing?
at the crossing.
And it's
Um,
both ends. I mean, we have people on the tracks, both
Where it's St.
both
Paul.
east and west, not only at the crossing, but east and west.
On
We
either
record-
side.
We recorded it.
So the
Can we
child could
record it?
be 20, 30 feet down the track and the parents are in, now whether it's a nanny or a mother, I don't know. But, the parents are talking to another adult. The adult is talking to another adult. I won't say this as a parent. The kids are, busying around on the track. Maybe they're putting coins down. Maybe they're doing
throwing
something else.
rocks and-
Throwing rocks. But it happens enough that, they're lucky. And I think maybe just acknowledging that in a newsletter or something.
I'm not sure you need, a newsletter is a good way, I mean, it doesn't hurt. But you almost need signage up there that
Yeah, it's
train
not,
tracks are dangerous.
There are signs that say
But they're right
crossing,
at the crossing,
crossing only on the designated area.
yeah,
But it
Stay
seems a
off the
shame to
tracks.
also have to say, don't play in the
yeah.
tracks.
I know,
So-
when I'm at the dog park, I look up the slope, and this is quite a ways south of the station,
Mhm.
and see kids just walking along the tracks.
Yeah, you can see them walking on the track.
and it's not just kids, it's adults, it's the train enthusiasts that want to get a better picture of the train, and I mean, they'll go 30, 50 yards down. So, I mean, CSX is well aware of it,
They're well aware of it because we've told them, or have they seen
No,
it?
they
So
know.
can we,
they know, they have staff there pretty frequently, they know what's going on. They'll say something to someone, but people take risks.
but they also refuse to give us any options for viable crossings that are safe. They will not entertain any conversation around improving our crossings or
Um,
crossing even.
Well, what they would like to do is that the crossing is only for train.
They would like to remove the
Restrict
crossing
it.
altogether.
Yeah.
So it's not CSX. So the CSX is not responsible for putting any kind of mechanism to stop you there. That was MTA. MTA is the one that had the mechanism there. MTA is the one that removed it 10, 12 years ago. So if we are able to get further along and get a mechanism there, not only in Kensington, I mean, there's nothing the whole way up the Brunswick line. I mean, there's nothing in Garrett Park, there's nothing in Gaithersburg and Metropolitan Grove, I mean, all the way up to Point of Rocks, there's nothing there. So it's something MTA needs to address, the entire length of the Brunswick line. I mean, there's nothing there warning you when a train's coming. And there hasn't been for a number of years, but, Alex and I can reach back out to CSX, see if we get some signage up. We've already met with a couple residents with regards to some incidents that happened on the crossing with regards to bicycles and getting some signage to dismount from your bicycle.
Oh.
And possibly,
There's a
yeah,
wipeout zone.
and possibly expand the crossing slightly. We're a little limited because of the railing and the platforms,
Mhm.
but we'll see if we can do something to solidify that. So,
Where we had the B&O banner, which may still be on.
It's still there.
Okay, to switch out that banner to something about a safety warning about trains kill. They're fun to look at, but they. can
That's
kill
the
you.
area that would,
Yeah,
Yeah.
might not help kids
Something
that cut up
something
on the
that's
sign, but
new,
it would
'cause
help.
there are signs, but you've gotten used to the signs now, and you just might see them.
and I mean, to Nate's point, I would, an improved at-grade crossing is the goal.
Yeah.
But even if that were built, that's not stopping what's happening here. These are
Yeah.
kids going
Yeah, further down.
60 yards down, up at, you can see them behind the cement pillars of the dog park.
Right,
And then, to be honest, at the end of St. Paul Street, it's for some just faster to cross the tracks
Yeah,
than
you
to
don't
walk
wanna go
down and cross at the at-grade crossing.
Mhm.
And, I mean,
I see that. all
we
the
can
time.
put up fences on both sides, like. it-
But we can't we? It's
Yeah.
CSX.
No, I'm just saying like,
Yeah.
they're,
They can put up.
so long as there's a way, people feel that is a risk worth taking to shave 48 seconds off of their walking.
Right.
Okay, number two.
Okay.
Yeah.
I noticed that the area at Flyers Mill in Connecticut now is having, some work has begun.
Mhm.
Even if it's grading, and I'm wondering if there is now a plan for how, for that intersection, as well as where cars are gonna come out and how they're gonna get out. I've never really seen anything, and, has it been finalized?
Well, I actually just had an email to another resident on, Oberon regarding this same thing.
Oh.
When planning approved the project, there was not a condition in which they had to solve this problem. There was a suggestion that they looked back at it. We have been working with State Highway for well over a year to try to find out a solution for this. They have come up with an idea, but that idea has not been completely formulated. It's got to be studied. It's got to then go to the
Office of Traffic Safety.
Office of Traffic. I mean, there's a process in which to do this. So basically, the shopping center will be completed, and hopefully within 10 years, State Highway will finally solve this problem. I mean, I don't
So
want
the
to be.
permit will be issued
The
regardless. of-
permit had nothing to do with,
Yep.
The
Fixing
permit has been issued, and,
Yeah.
one of the topics that we'll be discussing, the staff will be discussing the State Highway, and we'll be able to provide an update in December, more
Yeah.
likely January, is with regards to this intersection. And we'll be addressing it, soon.
but
There's
like
a plan.
the flashing beacon at Wheatley. How long have we been waiting for that?
2017.
This is how they move. So I don't want to get people's hopes up that they're gonna solve the problem, but when I talked to the other resident, it says sometimes you have to let the chaos happen in order for them to move. It's
Well, then it should
unfortunate.
move really quickly because
Well, they don't.
Oh.
there's gonna be a lot of chaos.
Yeah,
So-
they do not move quickly.
Okay.
But I feel bad having to say that.
Well,
It's true.
When you say you didn't see the plans, you mean for any reconfigured intersection, you've
I've
seen how
seen-
the traffic is supposed to flow
Well,
through?
I've seen sketches and things like that.
Right,
and
they'll
it
be
looked like-
exiting through that parking lot.
It looked like they were coming out where the 7-Eleven.
Correct.
Yes.
They're gonna
And
have an
then-
easement.
I don't understand that. How do they come out and then make a left turn? How do they
Exactly.
even get out? The cars are already coming around the other side. They've already stopped.
Well, you
They're
can make a
already
left
moving.
turn out of that little shopping
Oh,
center.
can and safely.
That's
are
what
two
I'm
different
just
things.
saying.
It's legal, but physically.
Yeah,
it
no, it's
is-
not easy.
Right,
It's almost impossible. And you've already got your,
right.
coming down Flyers Mill to make a right on Metropolitan. Those cars have already stopped. And now they're in full movement coming around. So there's no, you don't see.
Yeah.
You just have a constant flow of cars.
So State Highway is gonna look at moving the stopping, the stop bar, the line for eastbound Pliers Mill that turns right onto Metropolitan. Between you and me, we're over there all the time, right? I mean, it's right where we live. The vehicles that are going east on Pliers Mill to then go onto Metropolitan. The amount of traffic that goes through the intersection of Metropolitan is so small that it's like a yield is how that stop sign operates. They give no thought to the fact that there is vehicles entering and exiting the 7-Eleven lot. And it is precarious. That's
And even if
being
they
like-
stop, they're still moving ahead.
Mhm.
They've gone
yes,
50 feet before they get to that intersection. And so, I mean, basically you've got the right of way. You just keep going. So,
yes.
okay.
So
Hey,
hopefully in our lifetime, it will be fixed. But I'm skeptical.
okay. I just don't understand why development occurs without all these pieces put together.
I can't disagree with that.
I don't
Well, redoing intersection is extremely expensive, and there's a. You know, for the developer, if he was building a huge building and, you know, that costs so much money, then they would have some responsibility towards redoing that intersection. This is a small project, they're not required to do that.
Mhm.
And that's why, but the state highway has applied for grants
Mhm.
for this intersection, so that when they do come up with a plan, they will have the money, hopefully, if we get the grants, to implement it. So,
We should have an update in January.
And
Yeah.
is there a layout then for the
Yes.
area?
Yep.
Where
Yeah.
7-Eleven is, where
Yeah.
that roadway will be, or not yet?
No, there's a plan. There's a plan. It's over with the Office of Traffic and Safety. What they're trying to figure out is the pedestrian movements. They figured out the vehicle movements, they need to figure out the pedestrian movements to make sure it's safe. Then, basically the funding mechanism.
Right.
So we should have an update hopefully in January, to kind of get a better idea.
cause it's in the study, right, and then they're gonna have to
You've
go
actually
and
seen,
engineer
you've
it.
seen it. You've
What?
seen it in the pedestrian bicycling access,
Oh.
in the BIPA, plan that you reviewed as part of our working group. It's that, but they have to figure out the pedestrian movement like you had raised in that discussion.
I mean, there's a dumpster, there's parking spaces somewhere, if they're gonna cut from behind and go across. You have to be able to walk, right? There are no sidewalks right now, you just kind of cut through the middle.
Mhm.
Of the lot, okay.
Yeah.
And so in that plan, they've detailed it, or they've just,
I mean, it's laid out there, right?
Well,
Yeah, like the issue is how they can move the pedestrians in a safe manner. That's what they're trying to figure, that's what UTS is trying to figure out right now. State Highway understands that this is about a 14-month build on the project. Unfortunately, we lost our district engineer that was pushing this. So, you know, hopefully Derek will take this up and we can get something realistic.
and that's another frustration for us, is we get assigned somebody, we work with that person, we start making progress, and then they promote them. And they're gone. And now you have to start all over again with a different person. And and the districts are huge, so we're not their only customer. We are one of many customers, so they have a lot of projects going on. So it's just a frustration, because this one particular person we've been working with has been fabulous, and we just lost it. So it's, you know, it's just, so we've lost 3 or 4 months of not meeting,
Yeah.
at least.
April was our last.
Was that our last meeting?
Yeah.
So, you know,
will anything that's gonna be decided or developed come before in a public forum, to have discussion, or is it just?
I don't know
kind
how
of done
State
deal?
Highway,
Probably not on this project.
yeah,
I mean, we could bring it, but there wouldn't be a public hearing from the state for this. They're basically just modifying the existing intersection to create, they're basically proposing a roundabout. And an elongated roundabout, and what they just need to make sure is that if they do this, is it safe for the pedestrians? Are there enough locations pedestrians can be in a safe zone to cross to the next section?
Roundabout, it is in that plan. I had a
Yes.
comment about that,
Yep.
okay,
So
Forgot.
it's,
but I don't recall
Yeah.
the traffic through the 7-Eleven
and
parking
the
lot.
state highways told us is that they're very favorable towards the plan. They like it a lot. They just need to figure out the pedestrian movements and then the funding mechanism. And as the mayor mentioned, there has been a federal grant applied for by our district and the state highway to help with this. We have discussed providing some funding towards the project as well. And maybe they can just put it in an area like that.
And
That
like,
was the dual pedestrian walkway that was existing, and then they had put another one across, which to me would be a disaster. So you've got it on.
yeah, just to clarify, that that changes, what you looked at would change the current plan, which is the exit out of the 7-Eleven parking lot. It totally reconfigures it. So your comment about where the pedestrian path is placed, the one on Concord,
Yeah.
across Metropolitan, those are the issues that they need to look at, because we've raised the point that this may block traffic if there's like a bunch of kids crossing, like a preschool or whatever. There's better places to probably put that one, so they have to look at it. I think that's the part of the study.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Sure.
Thank you, Leslie.
Thank you.
Thanks, Leslie.
Okay. Anybody else online? See anything else? Okay. All right, I think that's it. Done. So, we will be meeting on Zoom next month. In December and most likely January and February as well. And then we'll see what the weather is in March and then come back in person. So, all right, can I get a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much. And the train's coming. I hear the train. Oh, I can hear the train? I can hear the train.
I heard it.
Other people.
Thanks, Leslie.
Thank you. You got my